Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I'm coming to you guys with my Week 5 battle for the MPL Major Pokemon League. We are going up against Aaron 2 for 20, and if you missed my team builder, I do recommend you guys go check it out. It was most likely the last video uploaded to my channel. Please go check it out. I'll quickly go through the team in case you don't have time. We have a SD Adamant Zard with max HP. We have an Expert Belt Greninja mixed attacking set. We have a Choice Scarf for Xurkitree. We have a Sub-Taunt Leech Seed Superior. We've got a Toxic Spikes Physically Defensive Quillfish. And we've got a Physically Defensive Donphan with Rocks and Rapid Spin. I'm sorry if I'm not up to like full volume in this video. It's a little late at night, and I don't want to sort of speak at full volume for fear of waking my girlfriend and just being disturbing to her. So thanks for bearing with me. I would do this recording at a different time, but this upcoming week is just going to be really crazy, and this is like the only time that I feel like I can get this done. So yeah, just with that out of the way, let's look at what Aaron has brought. He has brought Jirachi, Terrakion, Incineroar, Florges, Suicune, and Gourgeist. So two thoughts when I look at this team. First is that SD Zard looks really fantastic. It most likely either it outspeeds 4 out of the 6 members of his team, most likely. Depending upon the Jirachi set, I could also outspeed. So we'll have to see about that. And I guess Jirachi doesn't necessarily have a move that can threaten Zard to one-shot anyway, unless it's like Specs Psychic or something like that. Honestly, like a T-Wave set would be a little bit more threatening. But his team, in addition, is extremely vulnerable to Toxic Spikes. 5 out of 6 Mons are vulnerable to it. He only has Florges as potential defogger, but Florges is just such bait for Zard. It is crazy. I'm feeling extremely confident at team matchup because he's brought exactly the sort of team that my team is supposed to feast upon. So good luck to Aaron. I'm feeling good. There's still plenty of ways that he can pull it out. If there's some sort of crazy setup Terrakion set that he's got, he can definitely, I guess, sort of pull the upset here. But I'm going to stick with my game plan of trying to get up T-Spikes, use Zard to wall break, use my Superior to whittle down Pokemon with Subseed, in addition with Toxic Spikes. Like, his team is just going to get worn down so quickly. And then in the late game, clean with either Greninja or Xurkitree. He kind of has to have like a Scarfer on his team, I would think, in order to deal with my Gren, because Gren, like if I had the right coverage, I would kind of 6-0 him. Like Gunk Shot on Florges would do a ton of damage. I've got Ice Beam and Night Slash for Gourgeist. Excuse me, ended up not running Gunk Shot. I have U-turn instead. But yeah, it just looks like such a threat versus him. So let's go ahead and get this battle started. Usually I record in Citra, and then in my rendering software, I render at 2x speed. But I had a brain fart, and I ran it at 1x speed. And so I'm trying to do it double speed in a VLC player because I don't have time to re-render. So hopefully the game doesn't fart out while I'm starting this battle. So let's just go ahead and click play and see how this goes. So good luck, have fun, Aaron. And this is definitely a revenge game for me, because Aaron's team, even if he wasn't the person piloting, was the reason that I didn't get to playoffs into P4G. I mean, I kind of got in on, I don't know if I call it technicality, I got in because Fries kind of forfeit his playoff spot, because he didn't really want to, he didn't have enough time. But anyway, lead off with Zard versus Rachi, which is really good for me. Like, basically, by playing with leading with Zard is that if he doesn't lead Terrakion, there's almost no way that he can immediately threaten me. So my plan was to either go for an attacking move or more likely go for a Sword Stance. And facing down that Jirachi, like, Sword Stance is just so free because there's almost no way he's going to be staying in here. And that's exactly what he does. He switches out and he brings in his Suicune. And you're about to see, this is a max Phys Def Suicune. And that thing just took 90 from a +2 outrage from an Adamant Charizard. And not even max attack. Like, if I have like 220 Adamant this week instead of 252, because I wanted more HP. More HP was important for potentially surviving Final Gambit from a Selgor. But anyway, that thing just took so much damage. Like, That's totally unbelievable. I'm so happy that it did so much. And he, smartly has Roar on his Suicune. If this is his response to DD Zard with like Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, Roar is a good set to bring. And then he reveals the Protect. I get up a T-Spike on his Protect. That's amazing. And the fact that he has Protect means he's probably not Rest, which means that this thing is pretty much eliminated. It's got like 20% health. Not at all worry about it for the rest of the game. So I go into my SERP because my Quillfish doesn't really have any ability to threaten the Suicune offensively, and he goes into his Jirachi. I suppose I could have gone for Taunt this turn to prevent it from going from Stealth Rocks, but I figured that getting up my Substitute is pretty nice, because depending upon his set, like, he might have a difficult time dealing with this. And I'm just going to go ahead and click my Leech Seed, because even if he goes into this Gourgeist here, it is going to get poisoned right away. And there's not a whole lot that it can do to me. Like, he's probably a bulky set, because like bulky Gourgeist is good for dealing with the SERP, for example, and Xurkitree. If he doesn't have a lot of attack investment, he might not even have a move that can break my sub. And he does reveal that his best move to hit me is Shadow Sneak. And so because I am max HP, there's no way that this is going to break my sub. I do just go for a Taunt in case he wants to go for, Synthesis or other weird moves. I guess with a sub up, there's not a whole lot that he can really do versus me. He's just kind of has to go for the attacking moves. Like if he had Will-O-Wisp or Toxic or whatever, he is not going to do anything versus me right now. But it just prevents anything weird from happening. I don't know exactly what Gourgeist could have done in that situation, but yeah, I do just go for the Leaf Storm because I know that there's really nothing this thing could do to threaten me right now. And so I can just start getting those boosty boosts and see where it goes from there. He did break my Substitute with the second Shadow Sneak, which is no problem. And he's going to go for another Shadow Sneak here, but I can just follow up with another Substitute. And, as every turn passes by as well, he's taking 12% more damage from this Toxic Spike. And, it's really, really racking up. So this is exactly what I wanted this Superior to do, to sit in front of things, go for Substitute, and make the turns just go longer and longer, because all these Mons are going to just drop because I can taunt them and prevent them from recovering, and I can just repeatedly go for Substitutes. So we do take out the Gourgeist finally. We are going to get up to +4, which is pretty nice depending upon what Florges set or Incineroar set he has. We actually have a potential to have game here. I'm not trying to get overexcited or anything. But he does go into Incineroar, which suggests that this is probably some sort of Spadef set. And I guess something I could have done here was gone for Leech Seed. That might have been the smarter play, because then I could sort of do what I just described, right? I can just repeatedly sub up, and he's going to take all sorts of residual damage. He's going to take Leech Seed, and I'll get healed up from that. He's taking poison every turn. And as you see, he's rocking Flare Blitz, so he's going to be taking even a little bit of recoil damage from Flare Blitz. So in retrospect, that was probably the better play. It would pretty much allow me to 1v1 this Incineroar, which would have been wild. Because you see, based on the damage, it did maybe 30%. This is definitely like a Assault Vest set, and it actually turns out that it's like a Spadef Assault Vest, which is just totally crazy. So as a result of my choices, I'm going to have to go into my Quillfish here and take just a tiny bit of damage, because we do switch in on rocks, and then we do take this Flare Blitz. We take it very well, as you're about to see, because we are physically defensive. But, that little bit of damage could potentially come into play later. But he's so low now. If I ever get up rocks, he's totally dead. After he takes another round of poison, like if he pivots in on something, he takes 12% from the poison. So I just go for a Liquidation. He doesn't really have a fantastic switch into Liquidation at this point anyway. Because, if he goes into Suicune, it takes, again, that same 12% from Toxic and whatever. So it felt like it was a free play. No point in over-predicting or anything. So this Jirachi comes in, and I don't really know what set it is. I mean, it's shown that it has rocks. It could be some sort of Wish set. So if he's packing Iron Head, T-Wave, things like that, I felt like Xurkitree was a fairly reasonable Mon to go into. And Xurkitree, it can, I guess, do well in the late game. But as long as Florges is healthy, it can't really sweep yet. So it was if he went for the Psychic, it felt like it was okay because Circuitry was sort of expendable. And so he goes for Psychic, and yeah, I feel like I can bring in my Greninja, and obviously I'm immune to that Psychic, which is fantastic. And even if he switched it up and went for Wish or Iron Head or whatever, Greninja wasn't going to take a ton of damage from something like that. And anticipating him to switch out, like obviously he's going to be fearing the Dark move, I do just go straight for a U-turn. And the Suicune comes out. I was expecting this to actually go down to the Poison, but I forgot that this is a leftover Suicune. So anyway, my Circuitry's out here, and I can just go for a Volt Switch. He's going to end up going for a Protect, which I guess is kind of cute, because it allows him to kill himself to the poison damage, and that prevents me from getting a Beast Boost. Like, it ended up not mattering because I went for Volt Switch, right? Like, if I got my Beast Boost, I was going to immediately switch into something else. But as it is now, I'm still stuck in here with my Circuitry. I am locked into Volt Switch, and we'll have to see what Aaron does next. So he does send out his Terrakion. I suppose I haven't revealed yet that I'm Scarf. I haven't outsped anything. I guess it depends on what sort of speed investment he has on his Jirachi. If it's like a fast Jirachi, then he would know that my Circuitry is Scarf. So if I'm assuming that he knows, him bringing this Terrakion in onto the Circuitry suggests that this might be a Scarf Terrakion. And so I go, okay, if he's Scarf Terrakion, Qwilfish is a nice play. And I do Intimidate him, which is great. And he goes for a Rock Polish, which is pretty spooky. And he follows this up with a Groundium Z. So the reason I mentioned earlier that the damage on Qwilfish might have mattered is only in the case of this Terrakion being Continental Crush rather than Tectonic Rage. If it was Continental Crush, then it was like a pretty high roll for him to kill. It did like 90 to 106, assuming he was a Jolly Terrakion. So it was pretty much in his favor. So yeah, having that little bit of HP would have been really nice. As it is, he is not he's not Stone, Z Stone Edge. He is Tech Rage, as we saw, of course. And he's also an Adamant Terrakion, so it kind of didn't matter anyway. Like because he was Adamant, I bet that the Z Stone Edge would have killed almost regardless. But this is a -1 Terrakion. I am a physically defensive Donphan. There's a 0% chance he's staying in here, so I take this as an opportunity to go into, go for Rapid Spin as he brings in his Florges. Donphan is actually pretty hard for him to deal with at this point, because when you're switching to a Donphan as a Florges, that's not ever really a good sign. But I've gotten away the hazards. This Zard switch-in is pretty damn free, and he does go for a Defog. It's a little bit too little too late for him. Like, I've already gotten every Mon poisoned that we can on his team. The Jirachi is the only Mon that is not poisoned because, of course, it can't be poisoned. But there's no point in going for a SD here. I'm gonna do like 70% damage minimum to this thing, and there's a potential that I would do even more, and that's exactly what turns out to happen because this was actually a Spadef Florges, which I guess makes sense for things like Greninja, Superior, etc. So that allowed my Flare Blitz just to totally body that thing. And he goes into Jirachi next. And we're going to go for another Flare Blitz. I think actually based on the spread that Aaron sent me, that was actually a speed tie. So probably a little bit of a bummer for him. But, it's sort of moot, right? Because even if he got a tiny bit of chip damage on me from Psychic, he brings in his Terrakion, he Revenge kills me, he takes a round of Poison. I go hard into Donphan and kill him with Earthquake. Even though I have no attack investment, I still do like 87% minimum to an uninvested Terrakion. It did turn out that this was a somewhat bulky Terrakion. I had only like 44 EVs in speed, and the rest was in attack and HP. But even so, it was going to be at 64% after the round of Poison. So it was going to be extremely low, and yeah, there's no amount of bulk that Terrakion can run to survive an EQ at that point. So it's going to end up being a 5-0 victory for the Baltimore Oriolus this week versus Aaron and his Calgary Infernapes. So shout out to him. He was a really good sport in this game. Like it's always tough when you take losses like that, right? Because you never really feel very good about yourself. It's how I felt last week when I fought Hera. I was just like, wow, they're like, I just got totally bodied. There's nothing I could do. Like, the team that he brought just counter-teamed my team so hard. You know, and I took it pretty hard, but Aaron is a much better sport than me. You know, he totally took it in stride. You know, we talked it out, and, you know, we both agreed. We're extremely excited for the next time we get to battle. We are going to be battling in GBA D-League up in Week 8, so we still have a ways to go. But, you know, he's a stand-up dude, so shout-outs to him. If you don't really know Aaron, he's, you know, a pillar of the community, and, like, that's hardly an exaggeration. Like, he's very relied upon for genning and recording. He's now in the D-League. He helps run the GBA Discord. He's practically a senior analyst in the GBA. You know, he has lots of responsibilities, and he's just generally a nice guy. He always has a good attitude, and, you know, never really says shit about anybody. It's just, like, very easy to get along with. So I wish him very well. I hope that he succeeds in his future MPL games. I know it's tough when you're taking over a team that you didn't draft, which is exactly what he's doing, but he's doing the best he can, and definitely want to, you know, give him a shout out for that. So I don't know who we're playing for our Week 6. I think actually I think it's I think it's Frieslander. So he and I battled once before in P4G, Next Generation, and that was a pretty fun game, a very, very close 1-0 victory for us. I'm sure he's going to be out for revenge. I don't know what his record for Week 5 is, but I think going you know, out of Week 4, he had a 1-3 record. So he's going to be looking to bounce back. You know, he did get his first win in Week 4 after a couple of bad losses. Like, the only one that I watched, yeah, I wish I had more time to watch everybody's video. But the only one that I watched was the one versus Blue Rogue, where he got swept by Lycanroc Dayform. And that was pretty brutal. But, you know, it was awesome. He was a good sport about that, too. And he and Rogue actually were in call while the game was going on, and they just had a huge laugh about it. You know, and that's, you know, I definitely admire that. Like, there's a lot of people who take Pokemon very seriously, and a lot of the times I'm one of those people. But, you know, if you can come out of a match, win or lose, having a good time, like, you're doing it right. That's the best way to play. The rest of us who stress ourselves out too much about these games, you know, we could take a page out of their book and just make sure that we're having fun playing with, you know, digital monsters. I guess not digital monsters, right? That's Digimon. But you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But I'm just rambling on at this point. I think it's been like 3 minutes since the battle ended. So make sure you check out Aaron. Definitely has a great channel and has very up and coming. And make sure you check out to my channel for other gaming and Pokemon content. We are going to have our GBA battle going up this Sunday, very first GBA D-League battle. So thank you guys for watching. Until the next time, I'll see you guys later.